Hello and welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show all about dreams and their meanings. I'm your host Michael Sheridan, and it is my mission to set the record straight about dreams. Our show is live on Mondays at noon Pacific time on YouTube. Audio only is also available on Apple Podcasts and Google Play. You can send your dreams to the show at dream-analysis.com, and please do. They truly are the lifeblood of the show. And again today, I'm just going to interpret some dreams. We're going to first have a look at our symbol of the day. So assuming our symbol is shoes, but assuming your name is not Imelda Marcos, she had over 3,000 pairs of shoes and yet still only had the normal count of human feet to put them on. But this is actually a good symbol. We wear shoes to fit the occasion: hiking shoes for hiking, walking shoes for walking, sandals for the beach, high heels for parties and weddings. So in dreams, shoes are about being equipped to move forward with regard to the dream's subject matter. Buying shoes is great, as payment shows that you're willing to invest what it takes to be able to move forward. It is far more common in a dream, though, to find yourself barefoot, which means you are not ready or you're ill-equipped with regard to the subject matter of the dream. I gave a talk a few months ago, and a member of the audience had a dream where he was wearing shoes made from rats. He had recently been betrayed in work, his words. So this dream shows that he is carrying the impact of this betrayal as he moves forward in life. Literally, each step he takes is impacted by this betrayal. Also, the dream corroborates his story. If you've had shoes in your dream, you'll likely know what the dream is about, but something else in the dream will reveal the subject matter. If your partner is in the dream, it is about your relationship. If your shoes don't match and your partner's in the dream, it means that you don't think you and your partner are a match. This type of dream is likely to also point out what is influencing your mistaken thoughts. Needing to change your shoes mid-dream asks you to change your approach to the subject matter. You've probably used an approach that has worked successfully to get you where you are now, but it is necessary to make a change at this point in time. Buying beautiful or sparkling high heels is an interesting one, especially if much of the focus is on the height of the heel. This dream is likely about walking your higher path. Examining a single high heel shoe means the same thing. So let's have a look at a few hints on what the subject matter is, and I'll line them up with my images. So exercise shoes, like we have in the image here, indicate that the dream is health related. Work shoes say it's about your career. Now, it may also be about work that you're doing on yourself if they're work type boots like this. Snowshoes are about emotional expression, and they actually say that you're emotionally cold with regard to the subject matter. In other words, you don't want to be open, you don't want to share. So that's an indication from the dream saying this is something you have to change. Beach shoes are about your spiritual approach, because the beach is the approach to the sea, and the sea represents spirituality in dreams. Red shoes then are about a path to joy. This is something that you are going to have fun doing, or you're asked to bring passion to each step of your journey in this subject matter. Cream shoes are about acceptance and tolerance, and black shoes, which are more common in dreams, are telling you that you need to overcome fears. So this lady is very happy putting on these black shoes, but that's wrong in a dream. You don't want to be happy putting on black shoes, because they represent you're comfortable going forward in life with the fears that you've already got. And now I moved my finger, so I don't know what number I'm on now. Got it right. Green shoes indicate emotional expression, because green is the color of the heart chakra, so quite good to have in a dream. Army boots, not so good. They indicate a regimented way of thinking. Everybody needs to stand in line or they're wrong. So let's finish on a positive one. A listener wrote in, I recently had a dream where the only snippet I can remember is examining one very high-heeled red shoe. I've been wondering about it ever since. Thank you. Well, from what you know now, red shoes ask you to be passionate about moving forward, and the high heel refines it to be about moving forward on your spiritual path. Really a good symbol to have. So let's take a look at some dreams. This one is called Water on the Road, and it's quite a short one. The dream is, in this dream, my brother-in-law is giving me a ride somewhere. We're in the town I grew up in. We're driving by some apartments that are next to a creek. I see the water from the creek is rising and it's getting very close to the buildings. I'm concerned the apartments will be flooded. I tell Adam, my brother-in-law, that they should build a wall to contain the creek. He says a wall would be a bad idea because children could get hurt on it. Then the road is covered in deep water. It looks like we're driving through a river. I am frightened because it's hard to tell how deep the water will get. I'm thinking, if I were driving, I will pull over. But Adam just plows right through and the water seems to be almost like parting for us. Okay, so that's the dream. And this is really a very good dream. It's good because it's about your spiritual purpose. Well, all dreams are good. So we have a road running alongside a river, and that's about pursuing your spiritual goals. When the river or creek comes onto the road, it's the same subject matter, but shows you have really no way of avoiding your spiritual path. Your brother-in-law must have some positive traits such as confidence, belief in himself, etc. Some positive male trait that this dream is asking you to copy. You've got it because you are, you've got it, but you are not showing it. That's why he shows it in the dream. He is correct in ploughing ahead into the water. The meaning here is that there is no danger in this field for you. The water being deep is even better, as the path ahead is how you will deepen your spiritual understanding. The references to children getting hurt mean that you got hurt emotionally in childhood. The dream asks you to tear down the wall you built around your heart. The wall was put there by you to protect you from getting hurt again. And while it may have served as a survival mechanism in the past, it will get in the way of your spiritual side. So that area of life must be looked at. The apartments indicate the same thing, living apart or separated from your emotions. Think about what an apartment block is. We've got the word block, but we also have lots of people living together, but they don't really share anything openly. They live isolated from each other within the one building. Anyway, what you need to do is tell us about Adam. What are his positive traits? Because that's your homework, to acknowledge those traits in yourself, as that will help you proceed on your spiritual path. Here's what the dream shows with regard to your spiritual pursuits. And I'm just extracting your words from the dream here. You have concern, frightened of going too deep, wanting to contain or limit your spiritual flow due to emotional hurt from childhood. So like I said, what are Adam's positive traits? Because that's what you need to adopt. Now, if you're kind of confused and say, well, I'm not really pursuing anything spiritual. Well, life is spiritual. So everything you're doing in your life is spiritual. So if you look at it just from life getting at me, because we have the water from the river, from the creek, getting onto the road and going to get into the apartment. So it's basically saying you can't keep life out of your heart. And that's what you've got to address. But it definitely is more refined than that. And it is talking about your spiritual purpose. So moving on, our next dream is called Empty Houses. And I was at an event over the weekend, and I interpreted a few dreams for different people. But one person who told me her dreams was at lunchtime, and I feel like I kind of cheated her out of an analysis. We all went off for lunch and she didn't come back to the event afterwards. So I'm going to do her dream here because she said she's watching the show. Anyway, in the dream it said, I walk into a house that is derelict and run down. An old woman was there but moved out. I picked up a pair of black shoes that were there. In the next scene, I am entering a house that is like the one I lived in with my second husband. I go upstairs and it is all open with a floating area in the middle. Wooden planks lead to the floating area. In reality, the upstairs in my house was like a regular house with bedrooms, not like it was in this dream. So here's what we have. The old woman moved out and you picking up the black shoes. First of all, you said a little bit more that I didn't capture here. So you feel things from places. That's one of your abilities, and you probably wonder why you have it. But the other thing is the black shoes, and that's why I picked the symbol for shoes today, black being about fear and shoes about moving forward, say that you're afraid of losing people close to you. And this is triggered by you by your grandmother's passing when you were younger. I think you said you were 17 when she passed. But it actually goes, it could go further back from that, because where did you pick the shoes up from? If you pick them up from the bedroom or the hallway, it's possible even that this is something that you had way before this, and your grandmother's passing just amplified the feeling. You're also, because we have the second house, which is also deserted, and you're going upstairs, that asks you to be open to your spiritual side, because that's what moving upstairs in a dream is about. Remove all barriers, because all the walls and everything in the house in this dream are removed, unlike reality. And then literally, I like the pun here, the planks, wooden planks lead to a floating area. So it's really saying take a risk or walk the plank to get to activating your spiritual side. And why? I mean, it's almost like this dream is saying meditate, meditate, meditate. You need to get there. This is really this is everything you need to be doing. And the reason why is you're a guide, and that's really cool. So you're already where the rest of us try to get to, but it'll make sense of your life and what you're meant to be doing as you move forward. So really, they seem like horrible dreams, but very good overall. And our next dream comes from Susan, and she says, it's called Busy Crossroad. Excuse me. She says, I was at a really busy crossroad. It wasn't just 4 roads meeting, it was a bunch of roads. On my left, 2 of the roads that merged were very wide. One was 5 lanes and another was 6. Somehow in the dream, that totaled 10 lanes. Well, it can in a dream. My friend Mary was behind me and we walked across the road she walked across the road unconcerned. I was afraid she would not make it across the road before the car started driving into the intersection. I decided to cross behind her. Halfway across, I could feel the wind of the cars at my back. The cars were coming into the intersection. I prayed to God to carry me the rest of the way across the road ahead of the cars, and I made it across and then woke up. Okay, so what have we got? We've got the crossroads. So crossroads in a dream is about you needing to navigate a kind of a difficult stretch in your life with regard to whatever's going on now. And for this dreamer, it's about her spiritual career. She works in the spiritual field, so it's about that area of her life. And the reason we know it's that is because her friend Mary, who appears in the dream, she would call her mentor. And Mary is very successful in the spiritual field, doing the same things that Susan does. And also Mary is a mother figure name, so very positive to have Mary in a dream usually. So what have we got? We've got the crossroads. Then we have 5 lanes and 6 lanes merging. So 5 is about karma and 6 is about the dharmic path, so going beyond the 5 senses, living life, not just from what we can detect physically. And here they merge, and this is really interesting, and I had to channel on this one a bit. So you say that the somehow in the dream the count of roads totals 10, and 10 is about completion. So it's okay that the dream math is a bit funny, as you said. But so it's here. Let's have a look. What have I got marked at the next piece? We have Mary. So I already explained Mary. Say you're afraid, but she's unconcerned. So it's saying be like Mary. Just continue on. Start crossing this road, and you do. So that's really good. So despite your fears, you take Mary's advice. Although her advice is like a guide in a dream, they tend to do rather than tell you what to do, with the implication being to follow them. And you decide to cross behind her, and the cars were at your back halfway across. So it's this midpoint, and when you were telling me the dream, it was very much an emphasis on the halfway across point and almost being stuck at this halfway across point. So this dream is basically says that you're not on the karmic path or the dharmic path. You're actually on a third path. Now, there is no third path, so this really kind of puzzled me. So you're really at the midway point between karma and dharma, and that's where you do your work. So you help people with karma, you help them move their karma along. It's kind of a strange thing that you can do because you're able to change people's karma. But very interesting to see this in the dream and to see it the way it is. That this point, even though it's scary as heck, is where you have to live. And one of the things that makes it scary and not for everybody is It's right at the crossover point between the physical world and the spirit world. So you're able to hang out there and indeed enjoy hanging out there. Not many people would. So I'm doing a course at the moment, and to encourage the participants on the course, I am going to share one of my dreams, something I don't often do in the show. But this is what it's all about. Having your dreams, analysing them, and then following the message through in your dreams. And so this is a persistent message. I've had this message come to me in about 4 dreams. This dream's a bit longer than most, and it's longer because I haven't started the action. And that's because I had something that I was going to do at the weekend, which I did. It was all energy work. And it's not a good idea to mix cutting the ties with other energy work. So now I'm ready to do it. I'm going to start it, and I expect my dreams to change dramatically. But let's have a look at it. It's called Breaking into a Home. And I have it written out just so that I have all the notes here. So we, and the we is my wife and 2 kids. Now it's my wife Sandy in reality in the dream, but the kids aren't my kids in the dream. I have 4 kids, but these ones in the dream weren't anything like my own kids. So we either sold or had to leave our house or hotel. So it's like we got kicked out of a hotel. And I was with my wife and 2 kids in our car. My wife said we could break into a house, and I'm going to do this one as we go along, could break into a house where the people were away. And everybody in the area was kind of poor. And I think the house was an area called Llewellyn, which is close to where I grew up. I mean, very close to where I grew up, in the house I grew up in. So the breaking into a home in this context is about moving into your mom's body, but not being wanted. So moving into the womb. And we'll understand that more as we get further into this dream. And then the next dream is going to be the same thing in a nutshell from somebody else. But anyway, this one is mine, and this is something I'm already aware of, and I'll explain that as we go through. So my wife is playing a very positive role in this dream. She's extremely supportive. Never met anybody more supportive than her. So in this dream, she's gone the opposite way of that my mom did in reality. And she's telling me it's okay for us to break into this house. Now, why do I feel like it's a breaking into my mom's body? So this is about my mom getting pregnant with me. And the only reason you can feel it's a break-in is because you feel like you're not wanted. And we know that from the start because the hotel is there, the reception at birth, and kicked out of the hotel. So it's like you're not getting a warm reception, or you're not getting a welcome, not getting a reception at all. So let's move on. Everybody was, remind me to put my phone on silent. Everybody was kind of poor. I did that okay. Anyway, we broke in. I was extremely uncomfortable. The owners wouldn't want us there. So the owners is my mom, and I'm really uncomfortable about being there because I know that's the case. Now, this was planned, and that's what we have. We know that from we go in the car. So it's all about me. It's not really about anybody else. So getting there in the car saying, look, this is your karma, this is your path. So I'm meant to be in the womb, and my mom is meant to react to me that way because it's going to help me in my case, retain a spiritual connection. So it allowed me bring particular abilities that I use all the time, like this dream analysis ability, spiritual teaching, an ability to see spirits, an ability to do spiritual healing. A lot of things all come from the fact that I had an extremely rocky start and almost didn't make it and didn't feel welcome. So when you come into the womb, you're very much aware of the spirit world. If the earth plane isn't very accepting and inviting, then you pull back, and that pull back allows you to keep your connection with the spirit world. Now, you can't do anything other than pull back. You can't pull out of the body. There's a point at which you're stuck in the physical body, and you can't leave it until something tragic happens. But we know this coming in, and even though it's like we rehearse the play, when we get in here, we're committed, and now we're living the feelings that we planned, and that's quite different from rehearsing it off stage. Anyway, my wife said it's okay, they won't be back for months or weeks. And as it turns out, not so. We heard somebody arrive. It was the sound of a very young kid. So that's about my arrival, me being the young kid. So we have this time and time again in the dream. We were in the living room. So the living is moving from the spirit world to the physical world. It's not that they don't live in the spirit world, but we call this the land of the living. and that's the land of the dead. They don't really view it that way because they're not dead. Anyway, the owner had come in the front door, more references to the womb. She knew we were there, so okay, now she's aware that she's pregnant. The door to the room we were in was open. There was a strong chance she'd kill us. Okay, and I say here, not knowing who we are or anything about us, she came in the door slightly and said to me, "So this is it." So why did I think she would kill us? Well, the reality, and I can share this, my mom has passed, but this is something that she shared openly with the family, which is kind of weird. When she discovered she was pregnant with me, she went out to the back garden and dug a potato patch. Yeah, I'm Irish, so we have potato patches, so what? And she dug a potato patch to try induce a miscarriage. And she had had 2 miscarriages prior to me, not immediately prior to me. My brother came in between me and the miscarriages. So she did this to induce a miscarriage. It didn't work. She ended up in hospital for months, lying in bed, and then I was born prematurely at 7 months. So it was. So I have a lot of dreams, or used to have a lot of dreams about that stage of my life, and I worked on those. But it's come up again recently, and it's come up again for a very important reason, and I'll get to that when I do the next dream, because it's a similar reason. So that's what there's a strong chance she will kill us is about. Because that was her intention. Now remember, this was rehearsed. She promised she would do this. And interestingly, and I say this on my website in a blog I wrote about my mom's passing, a while after she died, Heidi channeled her for me. And the very first thing that she came through with was that she didn't need to apologize for how she treated me at the start of life. And now I already knew that because I had channeled on it. I knew this was part of the agreement. But she wasn't aware of that, obviously. And that was a huge relief to her in her life review to realize that she hadn't messed me up. I mean, maybe she did, maybe I am messed up, but it was part of the divine plan, you could say. Anyway, then we move on. Number 4, my wife told her we needed to stay somewhere. She negotiated / tried to negotiate a deal with her. I said, we have money. I knew we had $6,000. Now, I always had dreams about $6,000. They're always to do with channeling. They're always saying, improve your channeling ability and it's going to pay dividends. And that's so, now we understand why the 2 kids are in the dream earlier. It's about me improving my channeling ability. And what else have we got? So again, my wife being very positive here. So she's gone the opposite way. So one woman saying, you're not allowed to be here. In fact, I'm going to kill you. And another woman saying, no, it's okay. We need a place to stay. Please let us stay. And she's doing the negotiation, not me. Then we have, there were clothes hanging all around the place. I had noticed them before. Lots of towels wet on the banisters. A green bra stood out at the top of the banisters for some reason. And I'll continue on because I have more written there. Anyway, at this point, my wife and kids started folding the clothes. The woman had a change of heart and told my wife we could stay. So this is brilliant. This is exactly what we wanted. So the clothes hanging around represent attitudes. So I always say this, clothes represent attitudes because, well, that's a short story here. They represent attitudes and dreams. And then when we see hangers or clothes on hangers, it's about hang-ups picked up from, in my case, from within the womb. And they're all over the house here, all over the banisters. You wouldn't see this in reality. And then a green bra is right at the top of all the clothes, up the banisters. So why the green bra? So the green is the colour of the heart chakra, and the bra is about nurturing. Breasts are about nurturing others. So it's saying, look, you came here to have an open heart with an ability to nurture others. But you now have to overcome some of the issues, some of the attitudes you picked up because of the way you were treated at the start of life. And we see here again in the dream, my wife and kids, they start dealing with the attitude. So they're healing this thing. And then the woman has a change of heart. And that's what this is about, a change of heart. So we have the green and then we have heart referenced here. So it's about changing my heart, of course, not my mom's heart. I overheard her say that there was one bed. I was thinking maybe our youngest will stay there and my wife and I might actually have to sleep in the living room. So again, the living room being emphasized. I get to stay in the living room. How great is that? I thanked the woman for letting us stay. I also asked her why, and she said, I have to. So that's the contract coming up in the dream, even though it's not so clear. But I know about it. And then we have, near the end here, my wife had negotiated a price of $1,337 per month. I was thinking we should give more, but she had worked it all out. We were going to go to the bank and get the first month's rent. So the bank is about the heart again. We see that coming up in dreams time and time again. The bank controls the flow of the circulation of money in the economy. So circulation and heart and flow are all about the heart. And the number then, 1337. So this is saying I came in here and I need to be committed to my spiritual path. 1 says it's about me. 1 is kind of a selfish number. It's about being individual. 3 is about commitment, putting your mind, body and soul behind things. And 7 is the number of the crown chakra. So it says this is about your spiritual pursuits. So commit to pursuing your own spiritual path, not anybody else's spiritual path. So that's really cool. At some point earlier, so that really is the end of the dream. And I wrote this piece down because I could remember it, but I couldn't remember where it fit in. So it ended really well. But this is also a part of the dream from before. At some point earlier, I had noticed we had attached a cardboard with the name of Leslie to a memorial. Leslie had died or being killed, and this was a tribute to her from her friends. It was stuck to the existing memorial with clear tape. It was hanging about 1.5 feet down. I think we had done the same on the other side of the room for another person that was lost. So remembering now that this room is inside the front door, it's the living room inside the front door, and a memorial to 2 people who were lost. So like I said before, my mom had 2 miscarriages, and that's what that's about. And of course, I'm aware of that, moving into this space. And I don't know what caused the other miscarriages, but either that gave my mom the idea that she doesn't have to carry a child to term. Now, from my mom's perspective, I was the last of 9 children. So it's easy to understand why she would have the attitude she had. But here's another way to look at it. If you pick any one of your kids, doesn't matter what the age is, and say to them, I'm going to kill you someday during the week, next week. I'm not going to tell you which day I'm going to kill you. And then live your life throughout the week just fine. And then at the end of the week say, I've changed my mind, I've had to change your heart. You will have scarred that child for life. Of course, don't do that. But the point is, we always tend to think because things happen to us in childhood, or we do things to our kids in childhood, that they're unaffected by it. Absolutely not the case. So I know we're nearly at 30 minutes now, but let's have a look at another dream, because this will help explain it. And I don't have a build for this dream, so we'll just do it this way. Quite a short dream from Anne. She says, a couple of nights ago, I dreamt that I was naked on the floor of a hallway and unable to move. So the hallway is, again, it's about the womb, the uterus, and naked on the floor. Well, yeah, we're naked in there. And not being able to move. Well, we can't move when we're there. We also can't move very well for a while after we're born. So even just not being able to move in a dream can be bringing us back to that time in our life. She says, my arms and legs were stumpy and I couldn't move them with any coordination. I could only sort of roll and creep along the floor. My husband was taking a shower somewhere down the hall and he was buzzing and happy in his own world. I became completely panicked that he was going to come out of the shower and see me naked on the floor. My heart was racing, completely panicked. I rolled and chibied my way into a nearby room and was able to close the door just in time before he came out. And this dream stuck with me because the panic was so very intense, she says. So this is about being afraid to expose yourself, about being afraid to be yourself in front of others. And my dream is about the same thing. And why does it come up? Well, it comes up for this dreamer because she is really big in the spiritual field, really taken off like a rocket. But she has this fear of putting herself out there. She can do it and she does it all the time. But she has a fear of exposing herself, you could say, like in the dream, and or showing her heart, you could say. So the dream is saying, look, this is something you need to overcome. And why do you need to overcome? Well, here's why. If you want to really make it big in the spiritual field, or in any field whatsoever, in any career that you're in, at the same time you're saying, okay, I want to be huge and I want to attract a lot of people, a lot of clients, but also I don't want to be seen and I don't want to be vulnerable and I don't want to expose myself, then you're giving the universe 2 different conflicting messages. You can't hide and attract people to you at the same time. So you need to overcome this desire to stay hidden, like me in my dream, breaking in and trying to hide in a house. I've got to overcome that desire to be hidden, because that desire is going to block me in my case, say from attracting YouTube subscribers or people to my courses or whatever it happens to be. So I need to deal with the problem I had in the womb in order to go further with my spiritual career. In Anne's case, she needs to deal with something that she brought from a former life because she already had it in the womb. And her husband is playing a very positive role in this dream. So he's cleansing, because he's coming out of a shower and all buzzing. So this is the way she needs to be, buzzing and excited and very comfortable in her male energy. So comfortable being out there, you know, chasing her career, all that sort of stuff is male energy. So, so that's it. That's our show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, please hit the like button on YouTube and of course, subscribe to my channel. Details about upcoming courses and events are always available on my website, dream-analysis.com. So please do check it out. And in the meantime, realize the value in having a dream correctly interpreted and send your dream to me via the show at dream-analysis.com. If your dream is picked, you're going to get valuable insights and you're going to get them regardless of whether your dream is picked or not. Setting the record straight, I'm Michael Sheridan, and I will see you next week.